Welcome to Slaying Excel Dragons video number 37. Hey, these are the videos that accompany the book. And so far, we have made it through chapter 5. And this is the 37th video. And we are actually going to jump into chapter 6, which is all about, if I get the right page here, data analysis. Features in Excel like sorting, filtering, pivot tables, subtotals, text to column, and a bunch of others. Now, the first few pages in this chapter review what we already learned about raw data, information, and the most important table format structure. Right? So this just reviews. And then in this video, we're going to talk about sorting. All right. Can you believe it? 20 topics about sorting. Wow, so this is a one-stop shopping for how to sort. This is going to cover the pages 341 to 359. Here's our Excel workbook, the excelisfun start file that you can download from the link below the video or get from the DVD. We're going to start on the sheet S1 for sort 1. Now, what is sorting? Well, we can sort numbers, text, all sorts of all the different data elements that we've seen, trues and falses. We can sort one column, multiple columns. We could sort by color. We can do all sorts of amazing things with sort. So right off the bat, we're just going to see how to sort. Now, home ribbon, and then over in the editing group, oh, there's a sort button. And you can click it and say A to Z, which is smallest to largest, or Z to A, which is largest to smallest. This is also called descending. This is also called ascending. I always think of it as going up the mountain, going down the mountain. Also on the data, probably this is a better place to get the sort. We have our A to Z and Z to A, and these are the buttons I'll be using. And there's the Sort Dialog Box, which sometimes comes in really handy. All right, here it is. All we want to do is get the smallest times up to the top. Well, I want the smallest, so I'm going to start with A to Z, and I'm just going to click. Oh, but wait a second. Just as we talked about earlier many times so far in the book, when you're doing data analysis features, do you want to go like this? No way. You got to have a properly set up data set, field names at the top, records in rows. And when you invoke pivot tables or sorting or whatever it is, have one cell selected and then go boop. And instantly, it's sorted. The smallest at the top, biggest ones at the bottom. I'm going to control down arrow. So see those 31 and 887 got sent to the bottom. Control up arrow. Now I'd like to do the reverse. But we have buttons up here. But what if we right click? In Excel 2007 and later, we can right click sort. Not only is there sort A to Z and Z to A, but there's also cell color, which we don't have, we'll look at later, font color, icon, and even you can get to the custom sort dialog box. Now I'm going to say Z to A. Boop. Totally amazing. Hey, that's sorting one column. Let's go over here. And this is the big fear when people first learn how to sort. They're like, well, if I want to sort this column, don't I have to highlight this whole column first so that all of the numbers get sorted? Well, no, you don't want to do that. Remember, our rule is one cell. And then second, what happens to the records over here? If I sort this column, will it bring along these also? You betcha. Now, it comes from the fact that the data is set up in a proper data set. Field names at the top, records in rows. As long as it's set up like this and blanks all the way around, or a row header or column header touching the top of the data set, I'm going to Control Z there, no problem. I'm going to click in one cell and do A to Z. Whoa, look at that. Just like that, that record stayed, or this rating stayed with that number. Now I'm going to Control Z. You can see, boom, just like that. Now I'm going to right click Z to A. And sure enough, it stayed together. So that fear that most of us have when we first learn how to sort, forget it. As long as the data is set up in a proper data set, the records remain intact. All right, so that's sorting numbers, 1 and 2 columns with buttons. What about if we wanted to do the sort dialog box? Just to take a look right here, you'd click, and it's going to highlight the data set. It says my data has headers. You would select it pre-selected it because I had that cell highlighted. Right? And then you could say values, cell color, font color, cell icon. I'm going to say values, and then you select largest to smallest, or whichever one you want. Click OK. All right, now let's go from sort 2 to sort 3. And now let's see how to sort words. We've done numbers so far, but now here's a real live data set. You want to see all of the cities together. Can we sort it? You betcha. I'm going to right click, sort, and I'm going to say A to Z to bring the earlier letters up to the top. And by the way, it's not just the first letter that gets sorted. It looks through the entire text string, one letter at a time. So if there's a bunch of K's, it'll be sorted perfectly, just as the dictionary would be. Now I'm going to type something, and then I'll undo it just to see. All right, so now I've added that one and that one. Now when I right click, or I'm going to click the button right here, notice zip, because KE is before KF and KS is after KF. So the whole word is sorted just like a dictionary. Now I'm going to Control Z, Z, Z to get rid of those. OK, so we have the ability to sort an entire data set, numbers or words. But are words and numbers the only data that you're allowed to have in Excel? No way. You can have truths or falses. You can have blanks, and you can have errors also. So I'm going to go over to this next sheet, S4. And here is the hierarchy. We're going to look at an example. You know, most people think, oh, well, why do I need to know this? Well, we're going to see some great examples of where we can leverage this knowledge of the hierarchy of sorting to solve some common problems. Numbers to the top, text and words, then false, then true, then errors, then blanks. This is if we do A to Z. It's reverse if we do Z to A. So let's go ahead. And by the way, we'll see two great uses for errors and blanks in a next couple of sheets. I'm going to scoot this way over here. Let's go ahead and try it. Right click, sort. You know, it's probably faster to if you're working on here to just go like this. I usually just go like this. You know, there are keyboard shortcuts. And if you're sorting day in and day out, I'm going to hit my Alt key. And then notice that it's A for data, and then SA, sort ascending, SD, sort descending. So I'm going to do SA. So SA. Now, what happened there? We got to talk about what to do if there are blanks. If there are blanks like this, you actually have to highlight the entire table. Or else, what happened there was it considered that as a value in a data set, and that is the field name. So it was a 2-cell table. So when we sorted it, it didn't do anything. But now when we highlight this whole thing, I'm going to go Alt ASS, ASA for ascending. No way, numbers are at the top. Oh, and then these characters. And then cool. How come big C is before little c? And then rad, so word. These are numbers, characters and words, false, true, error. And the blank got sent to the bottom. Now I'm going to do that again. But this time I'm going to do Alt A for data, and then SD, so SD. Notice in both cases, our blank is at the bottom. It doesn't matter whether you do ascending or descending. But notice when we do Z to A, we have the errors at the top, then true, false, words, characters, and numbers. Now, we will use this idea of blanks always going to the bottom to our advantage in the next example. We'll also use errors coming to the top in 2 examples forward. But before we do those really cool examples, I want to talk a little bit about how come it's sorted this way. Now I'm going to Control Z, Control Z. I want to look at the difference between, actually no, Control Y to undo the undo. Let's keep it here. So this was sorted A to Z or ascending. 3, 4. Let's just look at big C, little c. Now there's a cool way to extract the first letter of each word. I'm going to use the left function. The left, if you give it some text, you can say how many characters from the left. I'm just going to say 1. And why I want to do that is now I want to show you that there's a code function equals COD. And if I say give me the code of that, it actually is going to give me a number that represents the order for ASCII characters. That's just a set of characters that is used in Excel. So I'm going to just look at this, 67, and then I'm going to copy this down, and 99. That's why when we sort it, A to Z, where the numbers and then the text, etc., big C is a smaller ASCII character number than little c. Not only that, but these are also a smaller. In fact, if we go like this, watch this, and then like this, this is nothing. But there we go. You can see well, these ones don't count either. It's looking at I think that's a 1. No, I guess. Oh, it's F. Sorry. Control Z. So that's, but these ones aren't really ASCII characters, but these ones are. And so you can see very clearly that's how the sort order works. And you can look over here. What I did is I put the number, how did I do this? There's a character function. And this is how you increment numbers inside of formulas. So I put character, and this gives me 1. This little piece goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you copy it down. So I got all the characters that way. All of them, the whole list. And then I just came over and says, hey, whatever character that is, give me the code. Now, you don't really need to know all of this, but there are situations where it comes in handy. For us, we just want to see there is the sort order. Now, let's go look at what we can do with errors and blanks. I'm actually going to drag this over to the side and copy this up. I actually had a formula here. If that cell is blank, then please show me that cell is blank. That's so when it's sorted, it would always tell us which cell the blank was in. All right, now let's go over to our next sheet, S5. And here it is, a common situation. You have a data set with some blanks, and you're just like, man, those blanks are useless. What am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to sort them to the bottom. I'm going to highlight the whole table, because remember, when there's blanks, you need to highlight the whole table. And I'm going to click here and use the keyboard shortcut Control asterisk on the number pad. And I'm in this column. You can see that cell right there. So I'm going to right click, sort, and say whatever, smallest to largest. And all of them are sent to the bottom. These are useless records. Now notice we don't have anything over here, so I'm going to highlight the row header 18 to 22. I'm highlighting the row header. Now I'm going to right click the row header and point to delete. I like that method as opposed to right clicking the cell, because it will immediately know to delete it because we're touching a row header. That works as long as there's nothing over here. So we fixed our data set with the knowledge that blanks get sorted to the bottom. Let's come over to S6. We're going to see a similar situation. Earlier, back in the functions chapter, we saw how we can use the match function to ask, is name in master list? So I am interested in the NAs. Match gives me the relative position of this item in this list. Because this item is not in this list, I am interested in it. I would like to quickly delete all of these. So in essence, this could be a prospective customer list. And the fact that prospective customer is now in the master list means we've already done our marketing, and that customer is now a customer. But we still need to do marketing for this customer here. So I want all the NAs together. I'm simply going to right click, and I'm going to sort. I want to bring them to the top, so I'm going to do Z to A. Now I could come down here to the bottom. And unlike last time, we highlighted the row headers and right-clicked. Well, that would destroy our master list. So we're not going to delete rows. We're going to delete cells. Right-click, delete. Now, sometimes if you have formulas and there's columns of formulas over here or data, this can wreck your data set. But there's nothing related to this table, and there's nothing below, so it doesn't hurt. This will just delete the cells and move all of the empty cells up. So I'm going to say Shift cells up. Click OK. So twice we've used sort and our knowledge of the hierarchy of sort to clean up our lists. All right. Now we want to go look at our next example. We're going to go to the sheet S7. And here we have a data set. There is a word as a field name, and there are words in the column. Occasionally when you sort, the field name will get sorted with the data set. So I'm going to go up to A to Z and click A to Z. Uh-oh, what happens there? I'm going to Control Z. Well, one way to deal with this is to use the Sort Dialog Box. So I'm going to click here. Column A. That means it's not sensing a field name. No problem. I'm going to come over here. My data has headers. That is the solution. So now I have it shows me names for presentations, values, sort however I want. Click OK. Right? And now when I right-click Sort Z to A, boom, it remains a field name at the top and data below. Now, here's names for a presentation. This is the order in which people are going to present. We're going to send the A first names last. But what if we wanted to do the reverse? And by the way, these names are set up first and last. If you had them last, and of course they'd sort by last. But let's go over here, and instead of having people give their presentation in alphabetical order, let's randomize the presentation. So I'm going to create a new column here. And I'm going to use the rand function. That's just our label. I'm going to, let's see, do some formatting here. I should have done this already. And I'm going to highlight this like I have done consistently, put the color for where the formulas are. All right, so we want to see how to use the rand function. The rand randomly creates a number between 0 and 1 showing 15 digits. Now, I don't have all the digits showing. We could increase, but there's 15 digits there. And we can double click and send this down. Now, the rand function is a volatile function. So every time I come over and do anything in the spreadsheet, like enter something into a cell and hit enter, notice they change. It is a volatile function, which means it continually updates and recalculates. No problem. We're still going to use this, and we can, doesn't matter, it'll recalculate every time, but we don't care. But watch this. We can right-click this column, sort, and whichever one you want. I'm going to do A to Z. Now, A to Z should bring the smallest one up to the top, right? But there's this 0.16 and a 0.42. What? It didn't work. Well, it sorted the names all right, but because this is a volatile function, when you sort, when that actually occurs, the numbers actually recalculate. So at the moment it was sorting, it took the actual numbers in the cell, and at that moment this was smallest, but when it recalculated, there were some other ones. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they recalculate. You can sort in any order, and it just randomly sets the names in a particular order. All right, let's go over to S8 and look at our next example. Sometimes you have data left to right, and you'd like to sort it. In this case, we have to use the Sort Dialog Box. And I'm not going to highlight the field name, just that right there. Go over to Data and the Sort Dialog Box. Very important, you want to go to Options and select, sort left to right. You could also do case sensitive. I'm going to click OK. And there's no name here, so I was just going to leave it row 1, values, smallest to largest. All right, so this one should be the first one over here after we sort, and then click OK. And sure enough, sort horizontally. Let's go over to our next example. Oh, totally amazing. In 2007, Excel came out with sort color. There's filter and sorting by color. Oftentimes people, their criteria for importance is entered as a color. And so we want to bring the red ones to the top, and then the yellow ones below, and all the other non-colored, non-filled ones to the bottom. Well, we're going to use this Sort Dialog Box. But watch this. You can actually right-click Sort, and it says Put Selected Color on Top. That's our fill color. There's font and icon, so we could do it that way. Oftentimes when I have a bunch of records like this with colors, then I'm going to go up to the Sort dialog box, and I can just select one at a time. So here I have date, cell color that. Well, add a level. So you can actually build as many sorts in as you want. I'm going to say date, color, and then no cell color. I'm going to say, by the way, that's an option. I'm going to say red is second. And then I'm going to click OK. Yellow and red. If you wanted to change that, you could come up to this arrow right here. So whichever order you wanted, it will mix them up. But there you go. So, right, let's look at S10, our last example, and very important. Sometimes we have multiple columns and we want to sort multiple columns. What I want here is I want region. I want all of the easts to be together. But within east, I want to see a sorted order of sales rep, A to Z. So the way to do that is, well, it means we have two sorts. This is called the major sort because all of the easts have to be sorted. And then this is the minor sort. And actually, we're only going to do 2, but you could do 3, 4, however many. Let's just see how to do it. 2 ways to do this. You either use the buttons or the sort dialog box. I like the buttons. Click in one cell. And which one do you do first? Do you do the major sort or the minor? You'll always, when you're using the buttons, you leave the major sort for last. So I'm going to click here, A to Z. And then I'm going to click here and Z to A because I want the wests at the top. And just like that, all the wests are together. Chin, 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 francs, galt, fam, etc. That's called sorting 2 columns. Now, let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do customer, sales rep, region. So I'm going to do A to Z. Notice I did that one first, and then that one, and finally this one, Z to A. So now not only are all the wests together, all the chins together, but this final column here, we have it sorted alphabetically. It works for numbers also. Let's try that. Let's do largest sales at the top. So I'm going to do Z to A. And then I'm going to come over to sales rep and A to Z. And so now chin, all of chins are together, but the biggest ones are on top. Man, that is so cool. All right, I'm going to now show you the sort dialog box. And the way I remember it is the buttons, you just go and leave the major sort for last. But with the sort dialog box, the way it works is the major sort just needs to be on top. So I'm going to select region, values, and I want Z to A. And then add a level. And then I want sales rep. A to Z is fine, and then click OK. Now, this is very important to know how to sort with a major sort last. Because in our next example, our next video, we're going to talk about subtotal. And we'll see that in order to get subtotals to work, you have to know how to sort properly like this. Oh, wow, that was a lot about sort data analysis. In our next video, we'll see data analysis subtotal. See you next video.